Welcome to the M3 Bearcast. My name is Malcolm Travers. In this episode, I speak with Jeff and Woody about dating advice. It started from a TikTok video where a woman was decrying some of the advice that men are getting about dating multiple people at the same time. And from that advice, we just started talking about dating advice in general and specifically toward people who haven't had much experience dating. You know, is it okay to date multiple people at the same time? How do you negotiate who pays for the date? And when people are making bad choices, how is it a good or bad thing to deny them the chance to make bad choices? Or do you allow them to go ahead and make them? I think it was an enlightening conversation. I really want to thank Jeff and Woody for engaging in it with me. And I hope that you make it through the entire podcast so you can learn about how to become a greater part of the male media mind community. All right, here is my conversation with Jeff and Woody. I've been threatening to do for a while, but it seems to always get pushed back, but it's getting pushed to Patreon now because we're going to talk about it off air. Yes. And we just talk about some other stuff behind. But I'm going to play the clip. We played it before, like, what was it, last Wednesday? Anyway, I'm going to play it and then we're going to go. Okay, here we go.
He knows he's your only option. He will not treat you like you want to be treated.
Remember when I did a TikTok explaining why dating was so hard for young people? And I said that a lot of these dating coaches and love gurus and the relationship advice you're given is actually a lesson in narcissism. This is kind of what I'm talking about. The whole concept of treating people like arbitrary options and having a roster of people, like let's say up to 5 people that you rotate through, is narcissistic. You're literally treating people like placeholders when it's convenient for you. They're your narcissistic supply that you'll get rid of when it's no longer convenient for you to keep them around. That's the way to date to attract a narcissist, not someone who genuinely wants to settle down and form an authentic connection with you. What I hope for everyone listening is that you develop emotional discipline to have and maintain strong boundaries. I also hope that y'all get a little bit more discernment because advice like this is not good.
Going into the dating like multiple people and how I would explain it to him. And when we had this conversation before and how I've come to understand it, because it's not always true and it's not universal. The reason why I date multiple people at the same time is because I do not want to prematurely commit to any one person. And in the process of realizing that, I realized like I also want to see different aspects of the things that I desire. So like I might, for instance, have one person who is a little more, is a little more passive, where someone else is more active, like that aspect, being able to explore differences in sexuality, experiencing differences in our communication styles. I'm also looking at the fact that, different people have a different way of relating to me and recognizing like they're not the same, and not only that, I don't get attached to any one of these people too quickly. And I think the major caveat is in the beginning, at some point you really do need to, pick a lane and stick with it. But that may come in time. It may not come. I might be in a, sorting through a bunch of people for a while until I'm ready to settle down. And considering like I haven't dated anyone in more than 5 years, I'm definitely now in the place where I'm trying to date as many people as I can. And that's great. I was like, why haven't I done this for years? Like, I don't get it. For one, I used to date people long distance almost exclusively, which is so, like people would always tell me this, it's a bad idea. Now that, they used to say that, it is clearly a bad idea. And one of the reasons why is because dating someone long distance means you have to prematurely commit. If you haven't already just gotten to know them, you cannot get to know someone at a distance like you would someone who you can see on a weekly basis. Unless I had the money to, charter a private jet, just like hang out in the Champs-Elysees somewhere in France. Like I don't have the resources to go, and that's the other thing is when I'm dating multiple people, I also have to be aware that I only have so many resources financially and temporally to entertain this many people. So it makes me more selective in what I do and what, how I spend my time with these people. And it makes it, a little more special, or, like I have to be more selective in what I do and how I do it, And then, of course, I also have to be honest with all these people about the fact that we're not in a relationship, because I had to tell one person that right up, like he's like showing me off to his friends and calling me his man and stuff. I'm like, oh, we're dating. We're not in a relationship. I really do like you. And obviously I'm spending time with you all the time. Like I like what we're doing, but we haven't even gotten past first base, like, come on.
So it wasn't as obvious as you thought.
Yeah, that's another thing. I can't really, I'm not responsible for what other people think.
Right.
I can only be responsible for what I communicate. And I was pretty clear about where I was on my dating and so forth. The fact that he did not understand that is not my responsibility. But I did reiterate that, we are friends who are seeing each other, and I really enjoy your company.
Yeah, but I don't know. Malcolm, it's hard for me to have this conversation for so many reasons.
I understand.
Because I have history. We talk on a regular basis. About my whole dating thing.
That's why I wanted to have this off air, so we can cut any of this.
Are we off air?
We are
off air.
Because last time I spoke and I mentioned somebody's name, and I was like, "Oh
we're
my God, we're not off air."
We are recording.
Yes, we are off air.
Off air. No one is watching us right now.
But we are recording though.
We are recording. It's a really awkward conversation. I get it, and because I
mean, like the my feedback to you would include the history I have with you, and go like, just the other day when I told you I had made myself obvious to where I am and with my people, the people I have dated, you said, well, you keep saying that, and I'm like, no, I've made, or at least I think I've made myself clear.
Right.
And then when people say, why are you sitting so far away from me? I'm going like, I thought I made it clear. We're just friends. Then then it requires me to say it again.
We're moving toward being in a relationship.
Yeah, but he thought that you were boyfriends, so he's introducing you to people.
It's absolutely crazy because he doesn't make sense after 2 dates. Like, I'm not your boyfriend after 2 dates.
I know, but apparently he felt that way.
Oh yeah,
you may not be responsible for how they feel, but you do have to recognize what he's saying in front of other people with you standing right there.
I definitely feel where this man's coming from because I've been there. When I was younger, I was one who would overcommit really quickly. Like you have that connection, you have that feeling, and you're like, we're supposed to be together. We're supposed to, let's do this. What are we waiting on? Let's just go. They ain't getting no younger. Let's just go. And I get it. I'm not, I said it was crazy, but I've been there. So if he's crazy, I'm crazy. And I'm just,
But how let me see if I understand. So you're just dating people casually, and you're going to date, more than one person, and you're going to date different kind of people, so that you get a feel for what's out there, what's the range of your emotions and what you like and don't like. I think that's wonderful. I think that's wonderful. But why can't you do that one person at a time?
Because it gives me the option to pivot. The simple thing when someone calls me and says, I got to work late tonight. I'm not mad because I got 2 other people I can spend time with. Because at the end of the day, I'm not trying to spend time with a single person. I'm trying to spend time with a person. I need anyone right now to spend company with. I'm not looking for a specific person. I'm hoping to narrow down to a specific person. And that's where this mental break is that this person thinks that I'm special to him. And I'm not. I'm just a person. You don't even know me yet. How can you love me if you don't even know me? I'm just some guy. And yet,
But you know how that happens, right?
I know.
You know how that happens.
I do it all the time. I do. If I'm being real, I did it with you. Shit.
Right. Okay. But I've done it to people too. So, and that's why I'm saying you do know how that happens. It's because you have had those lonely moments when you don't have anybody, and then when you finally somebody is kind to you, or wants to spend some time with you.
People.
You like it's like a guy. It's like I kind of equate it to like I'm out in the pool and I'm drowning, and somebody comes over to me and say, "Do you need any help?" And I just grab hold to the first that person because I'm drowning.
And you both sink to the ground.
And if I'm not careful, I will drown them.
Yeah, exactly. That's a really good analogy, dude. That's great. Yeah.
Good metaphor. No, I get it. And I think that it's fine if that's what you're going, that's what you want to do.
Yeah, I'm not saying
there's no judgment here, but I'm just saying for when I look at me,
right,
and I think about that because I've done that, and it's like it's like I have to write them down.
Yeah, so
I mean, like Joe. Oh, I'm sorry, you're Ron. Ron oh, wait a minute.
No.
You don't smoke. Oh no, you drink.
Oh no, you're right.
You don't like chicken. Because I got people and they have likes and dislikes, and I'm like, you're the one that doesn't like chicken, right? Or you're the one that doesn't want to go here.
You're the one that doesn't like chicken.
Right. In my mind. I'm saying this in my mind because I'm not going like, and I'm sitting there listening to them, and instead of me being able to get to know this one person, I'm like putting them up next to all the other people. So I'm comparing, I'm trashing, but I'm not getting to know.
Right.
And you may be better at this than me.
No, you're right though. I mean,
I'm not good at juggling.
First of all, I don't have much experience with juggling, so I'm listening to what you're saying and taking it in because I do value your opinion, and I do think that is a real pitfall. Like I had that happen the other day because one guy worked at a furniture store and the other worked at a car dealership, and I mentioned to him like, "Oh, were you at the dealership?" And he's like, "I work at a furniture store." I was like, "Oh."
That's what I'm talking about. That's exactly what I'm talking about.
It's like, oh,
that's
right.
Exactly what I'm talking about.
But he doesn't
you got 5 of them. It's like, oh God.
Yeah. No.
I used to have to.
So this is an assumption I made earlier about juggling. I made the assumption that you didn't want to be juggled because it made you feel insignificant. Was I wrong about that, or
me?
Mm-hmm.
No, you're absolutely right about that.
Okay, so
you hit it right on the head because I know what it feels. I know what it feels like to juggle. I know what it feels like to be juggled, and it's it's like the things you say that it doesn't really matter. You're right. It doesn't really matter if the person isn't available, and I may only find that out with one date. I'm going on one date with this person. He's like, well, I fly here and I go there for business, and tomorrow I'm going to start a new project, and and I'm like, oh, and he tells me about how many stores he's opened up or whatever, and I was like, oh,
very interesting life. Too bad it can't include me.
Right. Right. Like I had seen him before. We used to go over to this guy's house, really beautiful house, for movie night. Once a month, he'll have movie night at his house. This is his couple. Beautiful home, $1 million home, big ass rec room, pool table, everything. And they would sit down there, and a bunch of us would watch a movie, and they would pick out a movie, whatever. And so I would see him come there once in a while, and we would chit chat with each other. And one day I just said, "Hey, what's your number?" And he's like, "Hey, this is my number." And so we talked on the phone. I said, let's go out. And we managed to go out and see a movie. And that was cool. After the movie, I went by his house. He just bought a brand new home. Beautiful home. Beautiful home. I was like, nice car. I was like, okay, so this, I very rarely get invited to somebody's house. And I thought, am I going to come in here and try to have sex with this man? And I said, nope, I want to get to know him. So I didn't make a move on him, but I try to like let him know that I liked him, but I didn't make a move on him. Then the pandemic happened. I wasn't going no fucking place to visit nobody. I just wasn't, But during the pandemic, he called me and said, hey, I wrote a book. I said, oh, great, and, gave me the name of the book. And I said, well, okay, I'll buy a copy. And I thought I could buy it through my Audible thing, but it wasn't on Audible. So I actually had to buy the book. Which maybe I should get the book and take it so he can autograph it tomorrow. But I didn't read it. I didn't read it because I was like, I had like a whole bunch of books to listen to and read, and I was like, I read a little bit of it, and it seemed like one of those B-boy blues kind of books, So I was like, okay,
maybe not the thing.
Yeah, so I'm trying to handle this a little differently. I'm not trying to work homeboy for a meal because I don't have to. And you're right, you did make that suggestion, and I could have been okay with it.
Right.
And you're right, I wasn't trying to work him for it. And so that's why I was all like, there's no need to do all that. He was like, well, I got to make a resume.
Where I'm trying to make you into me, and obviously your thought process is different. I guess from my perspective, if I was offered that meal, I would almost. Maybe this is like a Southern thing or something that my parents.
How do you know? Like Jeff would say, you would have to clarify, or did you say that? You would have to clarify that he's paying for it, even though he might suggest it.
Oh, I would say it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You have to clarify.
No, I would clearly just say, like, that's not something I would typically afford. Are you paying for it? Like, I would be really.
No, I'm saying that's you clarifying that he's paying.
And if he says yes, I would feel zero guilt about it and have no compunction about it, because I would take the gift and be happy about it. Like that's how I was taught. Like, you do not turn down gifts unless you feel it comes with strings of some sort.
Right.
You want to have.
Right.
And if you wish strings or something like that, that's fine. I just felt.
I get it, but for some reason I thought, you
should go. I'm not bouncing that at all. I'm just saying I didn't hear anything.
No, and you're right. There wasn't anything there, but sometimes niggas try to impress you with shit.
Yeah, try to impress me.
No, but hold on, because I'm giving you the I'm giving you the background. Nice house, nice car. I'm an author. And I'm like, part of me says no. I'm not going to let you take me there.
Are you taking?
I definitely can afford and be okay with buying you breakfast if it came down to that.
Yeah.
And right now, it is ambiguous, because even though he picked out the place and we're going to have breakfast and stuff, it is ambiguous. I don't know who's going to pay for this. When the check comes, he may say, let's go halves, or I got it. I don't know. What do you say?
The reason why I go with wherever they want to go is because it was their choice, right? And I want to see the results of their choices. This is how you get to know someone. So I don't necessarily want to influence where we're going. If this is where you want to go, if this is what you expect, let's go ahead and make that mistake if it's a mistake. And we'll talk about it afterwards. We'll be like, you really didn't have to do this. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed it. I wanted to see the restaurant that you picked out for us, but understand, when I pick out a restaurant, it's not going to be this restaurant. And you're going to get to know me for the authentic person I am. Now, I can't make you be an authentic person. If this is a show, if this is a front, you probably need to stop doing that, because you're going to spend a lot of money. Because I'm not going to say no.
I'm going to interject here for a second, because right now, you guys are both saying the same thing, and I agree with, like you said, one, we need to remember that we all date differently, we all think differently. I think in dealing with what we was talking about, the idea of dealing with multiple people, in the sense that, why is it that we can't be comfortable enough in our skin to communicate honestly where we are and ask certain questions? Like you said, if it was me, because, like I tell people, I don't, I work for a nonprofit. I don't make a shitload of money. So yes, if you're going to say we want to go to, some restaurant, and I Google it, you naturally do that. What is this? Then I'm gonna be like, oh, hold up. Like, we need to have a conversation because I just can't afford to do this if this is going to be either I'm paying or even if we might be going Dutch. Hell, I might not even be able to forget paying for you. I might not be able to pay for myself. So we have to be able to communicate truly where we are without guilt and shame. And so often, as I tell people, don't be afraid to ask for what you feel like you want or what you deserve. And it's not, and if a person says to you honestly, like you said, you can, if you really take the time to get to know somebody, when somebody's, showboating, when they're trying to impress you versus, because I have friends that, they don't go to a restaurant that might be under 3 stars or 4 stars. That's just the kind of people, they bougie people. But but we've had those conversations, so they know either I'm not going to come with you, or if I do, it probably will have to be on your dime. So we have an understanding, but that's because we were able to communicate that. And even with being able to date multiple people, because, I think it was interesting what you just said about the idea of not wanting to be juggled yourself. And that's usually where, because, we have to be okay with understanding that just because somebody went out and had a good time with me and we're just vibing and getting to know one another, if they go out with somebody else, it does not diminish my experience with them. We have put ourselves into places where we feel like we need to be competitive, where we really don't need to be. Like, at the end of the day, I tell people, when I go out with somebody, I'm dealing with you and only you. Even if you got 4 or 5 other people in this moment in time, we're in each other's space. Now, when we leave each other, that's a completely different thing. But if I'm not in your space in the immediate moment, in most cases, unless we have gone down this road, gotten to know each other and committed, I ain't that concerned because I got way too much other shit going on in my life to be sitting up here saying, well, now because I know he's out with somebody else and I feel so insignificant. That's yet again our low self-esteem speaking to us. We have to get away from that stuff because it does make dating more complex. Because even in this exchange, all this shit, y'all made this too complicated. Like we make this, dating is supposed to be fun, especially in the beginning. Because if it gets to be long term, that's when the hard shit is going to come up. If you don't have that base of, you remember when we first met and we just went out and had a good time. Imagine when you hit that wall, when now I'm committed to this person and we have to deal with the real serious stuff. So I always say, take it easy. Like, make it light, be honest in your intentions, even if other people aren't. And at the end of the day, understand that their decisions are not an indicator of your value, who you are, anything else in between.
Right. And think about that. With the juggling part, if you forget a certain detail about someone, you don't have to feel bad about that. It's like, dude, I don't know you that well. I don't remember all the details about you yet. We've still
gone out twice. You were not going to know a person after 2 days, regardless of how many that. Getting to know people takes time. And like, I'm like you, I used to be a serial monogamist, but I realized that my monogamy and my desire for monogamy wasn't always that was just what I believed in. It was because monogamy felt safe. And if I have to deal with dating and why do I need to go out on a date with, all this stuff about, well, I don't feel safe and I don't feel secure. And that's not the way to date. So I had to then flush all of that stuff out. Jeff, why don't you feel safe? What is it going on? Because that has nothing to do with this person. That's not their responsibility to make me feel safe or to make me feel secure. I have to come to the table as a whole me.
Hey, thank you so much for listening to this conversation I'm having with Jeff and Woody. And I want you to invite you to joining us on the M3 live broadcast, because this was actually recorded after one of the live broadcasts that we have on our YouTube channel. So just search for youtube.com/mailmediamind, subscribe, hit the bell button, and you'll be notified every time we go live. Currently, we have 4 live streams that are scheduled at different times during the week. And we also have a lot of videos on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and you can be a greater part of the Male Media Mind community just by searching for Male Media Mind on all the social platforms, joining and being a part of the conversation. Of course, when we record these live, you can actually leave a comment or question. So we'd really appreciate your input on all these topics. And again, now back to my conversation with Jeff and Woody about dating.
And if I'm sitting down at a restaurant with somebody and they're like looking at anything come in and out, they're not really focused on me, that makes me feel insecure. It does. And I'm like, this person doesn't really is even respecting me enough to pay attention to me.
And if that happens with me, you're not going to get a second date. I mean,
there's no problem. You just eliminated one of the people I'm juggling. Goodbye.
Yeah.
Well, and it's not even. And I'm saying this. It does, and that could be even if I'm not juggling, because my thing is, like, when I go out, like, I have a thing now. Like, we are so tied to these. When I go out, I turn my phone down. Because that's a way of me letting you know that you have my undivided attention. And I actually learned that by honestly watching Wilson and interacting with him whenever we've hung out or whatever. Like, his sensibility, and like when you're in the room with him, and I've heard other people that have, like, he literally gives you his undivided attention, which as a friend I appreciate. But I also realize, like, why is it that we can't be that present when I'm talking about now dating somebody and going into a relationship that's even deeper than this friendship that I have. So I need to, one, be okay with understanding that this, whatever is there, it can wait. So I'm going to give you my undivided attention. I'm going to come to the table, though, and be very sincere and very honest. And if I see that, your attention is whatever and you're kind of all over the place, I'm going to be more like, you know what? Either A, you're not really feeling me like that, which is fine. Right. Or two, you just don't really know what you want in this moment. So you know what? I'm going to remove myself. And one, we also have to remember, like, usually on the first or second date, you're going to meet the representative. You're not going to meet the real person, because that's just naturally, like, social acceptability tells you to put your best foot forward. You go out, you have the first impressions are last. And honestly, they really shouldn't be, because first impressions are usually the worst. Like, you really don't really get until people start to let their guards down, and that takes time. It's not going to happen on 1 day or 2 days, even sometimes 3 days. So that's where I understand the investment in time, and I do feel like you can invest in multiple people at one time. Like, we can walk and chew gum. I just have to trust my ability to do that. And like you said, if I was talking to somebody and you work at the dealership and I said you worked at the furniture store, you know what? My bad. I mixed some stuff up. I ain't even got to really go into a lot of details. Like, people forget.
It's like, oops. So that's not me. I was like, oh, my bad.
And it wasn't. I let them know, I'm sorry if you feel offended, but that wasn't my intent. Like, I literally just
I feel that as a sorting hat. Like, if you get offended over some small shit like that, like, we got some problems, man. Like,
I don't know if it's small shit though. Is it small shit that you don't know who I am?
I'm saying, like, but like you said, if I met you twice, like, I have clients sometimes that, I have their entire life stories. I still have to go back to their file and be like, wait a minute, I saw you how long ago? Like, okay, like, and and it's not an offense thing. It's just, our lives are full and they're complicated, and it's just not that cut and dry. And we sometimes allow, like, I love Jasmine Sullivan, but she says, pick up your feelings. Sometimes you literally just need to stop being so sensitive, because it's different. Like, if somebody's offending you, if they are disrespecting you, absolutely, you never dismissive of that. But if it's something as simple as, I've had people say, oh, it's Jeff or Jerome. It's Jeff. And I laugh because I think it's hilarious.
I know. I had someone call me Melvin 3 fucking times on the day. I said, it's Malcolm. Melvin? Malcolm.
I don't know. I think if I have to correct somebody who I'm on a date with what my name is, it's a wrap.
Well, and I get it. And like you said, though, it's honestly about where you are. But as I say, just remember, it's especially with dating, it's just, until you get to the point where, like you said, okay, we've gone out, I kind of feel like I want this to go one way or the other. Like, I'm really feeling this person, I'm not really feeling it, I think there might be something here. Then absolutely, like, if we spent some significant time, like, if we've only gone out 2 times and you kind of screw some stuff up, I'm fine. But if I've been seeing you, like, we've gone out a couple of times, say over 3-4 months, and you start doing that, then I have a problem. And
all of this caveat of in the beginning, right? However you define that, we're talking about in the beginning. You may not know my name. You might get me wrong. You might mix me up with someone else you're also dating, because I do the same thing.
Yeah,
or just an experience that they've had. That with EJ is a prime example. EJ's name is Eric. So anybody that I can tell, because I've been around EJ long enough, how long you've known EJ, because EJ's sisters and people that have known him, say, over 15 years, call him Eric. His newer friends call him EJ. So I can be somewhere and I'll be like, EJ, and they'd be like, who is EJ? It didn't mean anything. It was just, okay. And like you said, but if he calls my phone, Eric Flavors shows up. But if in my mind I'm calling him EJ, it's quite simple. Just, and some things are just not that intentional and that blatant. Like, everybody, and I also had to, for me, and this is for me, I had to remember and realize that everybody wasn't out to be deceptive. Everybody wasn't out to try to hurt me. And sometimes that is where some of our emotion comes from, because I have been so fucked around and fucked over that now I take the posture that all people date this way, in these very toxic ways, where they just, trying to get over, like you said, they are trying to get the $40 or the $100 meal, or they just trying to get you into bed, or they just trying to get something out of you. And now I know that I have enough power, even if that's their intentions, to say no. So you ain't gonna get over me unless I want or I allow you to. So this is about me more trusting myself in this process than even trusting them until I get to know them and we establish certain boundaries. I mean, hell,
no, I mean, I think that in the, like if we were dating down the line, because if we were dating online, then I wouldn't have an issue wherever they take me, But if I'm just meeting you because I don't want you to feel, oh, well, I owe you something because you took me out to a nice restaurant. I can take myself out to a nice restaurant. Right. I can take us out to a nice restaurant.
Like this is something that we definitely encounter, and I have to call you out on this too. If someone does something nice for you, that does not obligate you to do anything for them. Nothing.
No, it doesn't. But it doesn't. I'm not saying that I feel obligated. I just don't want to hear it. I don't want you to throw it back in my face. No, I don't feel obligated.
Because throw it back in my face. That says something about you. Nothing.
And I don't want to hear about that. I don't want to hear that about you. I don't want to hear that you expected me to do something, or you tried to buy me by doing all these nice things, and now I'm not doing what you want. And you're like saying, well, hey, nigga, I took you to nice restaurants. I spent money on your ass, and I'm like, you did that because you wanted to. And I'm not going to sit here and debate that with you. And so I don't even want to have that conversation, because you didn't have to waste your money with me. And if I was with somebody and they did that to me, I'd be through.
My philosophy of dating is that I should enjoy myself. So whatever at the end of the day is what I need to feel enjoyment is what I do. So if it's a restaurant, if he asks me where I want to go, I say where I really want to go, and I get what I really want to get. And the point of that is, like I said, to try my best to bring my authentic self, even though it's my best foot forward, even though, obviously I'm trying to impress them. I also just want to be myself too. And so if they suggest a restaurant that I would be interested in going to, even if it's outside of my pay grade, I will have to first acknowledge the fact that I don't have that kind of money. I might be interested in it, but I don't feel any pull toward reciprocation because it's just not possible for me. First of all, I'm just going out to eat and have fun, and to get to know you. Part of that is, if this was your choice, this is what you're doing. And I think part of getting to know someone is, if they are bringing their representative, date their representative. I'm not trying to make you reveal your true self to me. I know that's just going to come in time, which is also why I'm not worried about really getting to know all these details yet, because I know it's going to take some time for them to reveal themselves anyway. So, and if anything that I find important, I'm going to remember, I don't have to worry about that. So that's why I'm saying, like, all this process should be enjoyable and easy. That's what I'm getting at now. I've only been doing this a couple months, but man, dating like this has been so much easier for me. Like, I don't give a shit about any of all this, what you expect of me. What are we? Like, I had someone ask me that on the first date. So what are we now?
On the first date? You had somebody ask you that on the first date?
Ask me that on the first date. Like, what are we now? We're about to leave. We're about to go watch a movie. I don't know. Like, we're going to go on another date, I think. I mean, I'm enjoying ourselves, I think we're going to go out. That's what we're going to do. Like,
I had somebody do that to me actually not too long ago, and that was my issue.
First date?
On the first date, these people are expecting, and that's the thing where, this idea of, like, how would you expect me to commit to you and I don't know you? Like, I can't say honestly other than, yeah, I had a good time. Let's keep it there. At some point, I will be able to, as we continue this process, this is for me, I'm always, my friend, clarity is our friend. I'm always going to let you know where you stand with me, period. That's just because I realize, one, that's how I want you to do me the same way. So we usually give what we want. That's one. And the other side of that is that, like we said, I've done this enough to where I realize the mistakes that I've made. Because before it did used to be, it was everybody else's fault. It was your fault I didn't have a good time. It was your fault that this didn't work out. It was X, Y, and Z. And I had to take some, like we talked about, I had to take some ownership in this. Like I did not necessarily come to the table also my best self, but I wanted you to put your best foot forward. Like, so we need to just also practice a little grace sometimes. Like understanding that, we just need to sometimes just slow it down and just enjoy the moment, because we get so caught up in this, I need to, grab your hold of you and hold on to dear life. You don't know me. Like you've had a couple of maybe decent conversations, and now we're out and we're interacting with other ones. If it's truly meant to be, it will get there. Like I tell people that all the time, just let the process play out. Like you can't rush it. And,
Right.
and we do that because we're afraid somebody else is going to come up and one up you. And, because like I tell people, I don't date from the standpoint of competition anymore, because when we date from that standpoint, we always are going to end up in this cycle. Because like you said, there's always somebody that's going to one up you. There's always somebody out there that maybe looks a little better. They're a little slimmer, a little whatever that person might be into. There's always going to be somebody that can make you feel like, ooh, I don't know if I can compete with this. But at the end of the day, if this is truly meant to be and it's going to be a genuine connection, then that's what's going to happen, regardless of how many people you see, whether you're just seeing one of me or me and four other folk. At the end of the day, if this is what's supposed to happen, it's going to happen.
Yeah. And I'm thinking like, on a certain level, I kind of want to be in the rotation. I do, because I don't want to commit early, and I don't want you to, put everything on my shoulders. Like I don't need all that responsibility. I don't need to be the sole source of your companionship before I get to know you. Like there's a lot of responsibility, like for you.
But
Like,
there was one thing that Homeboy said today, and we were
Hmm.
texting for the most part, but he made a comment that, oh well, I don't look as good as those guys that you've been talking to, and COVID has got me looking a certain kind of way. I could look it up on the phone, but I said to him, I said, hey, you look fine. We've all put on a little weight because of COVID. It'll be fine. And then I wanted to tell him, if he does that again, I'm going to say, listen, I may believe you. And then I'm like, I don't need to be bothered with you either. If you don't feel confident enough that you look okay.
Well, and I was going to say, that's a sign of low self-esteem.
Yeah, I thought that was strange. I thought that was really strange,
Low self-esteem drives a lot of the toxic behaviors that we go through with people. Like it drives like why these people sometimes act out in a way. So I tell people, like, when you start seeing things like that early on, like you said, it could be a fluke, but if it keeps coming up, then you have to address that, because like you said, I'm not gonna.
I put that with the fact that he wants to take me to this high-end restaurant. He's like telling me, oh, well, I don't look as good as I did. I'm just like sort of like weaving that together, going like, okay, wait a minute. You're trying to impress me because you don't feel you look a certain way. I wouldn't be talking to you if I thought you were ugly. Honestly, I wouldn't be. I wouldn't be like, you don't look good at all, and I'm going to talk to you. No.
Exactly.
So I mean, I'm going like, why is he doing that? Is it like he's getting me ready for something?
He's insecure. It's basically insecurity.
And it's insecurity, and he's also preemptively preparing himself from rejection. Because
that's what I thought too. I was like, I'm not rejecting you. I'm trying to get with you.
Well, he rejected me because, I gained a little weight and I wasn't, and yet again, that's all in the midst of low self-esteem. Like, hell, we've all, like you said, we've all gained weight, and as I tell people, hell, as we all get older, as our bodies change, different things are going to occur and happen. Like, we ain't going to all look the same way we did, 4 or 5 years ago now. So, like, get away from that. Like, and if that's, where you putting the value at, and I'm not, then yet again, I need to reevaluate this. Hence why, no, I'm not going to commit to one, like, because we've now had this interaction, because I need to then figure out if I want to continue this. And if I do, is this something that is going to be a problem for us later on down the road?
Yeah. I and then that makes me think maybe it wasn't just the coronavirus thing that made us have this space and time, or makes him seem unavailable. maybe it's just his own feeling about who he is.
Right.
You know, because like when you say, "Oh, it's easy," but they're not available, and I'm going like, "You're right," but what if they're telling you they're not available, or they're making themselves seem so unavailable because they just don't, they're insecure and they're not sure, because I'm going like, listen, man, I'm an older guy. That whole thing that, you like, if you're not a gym rat, that's not my interest anymore. So, I don't know where you think, I mean, and he's seen me enough, and I've seen him enough at this, once a month movie night thing.
How attractive you are. Yeah.
So I don't get it. It's like, I know what you look like.
Right.
Yeah,
that's true.
I know what you look like.
I appreciate someone who, there's nothing wrong with insecurities as long as you can talk about it.
Right.
Because I knew I was dating a guy who was insecure about how skinny he was. And I made a comment about, something about him being skinny. And he felt some kind of way about it. And he told me, like, I need to be the big guy, I don't call me skinny. I said, I didn't know that. Like, now I know. Like, I know. And I felt kind of good about it. I was like, okay. It's like, so now I kind of like rub his belly and some shit like that,
Make him feel like the big guy, right?
Yeah, he wants to be the big guy, but he is kind of skinny. He's literally one of the skinniest guys I've ever dated. But he's cute, and
And he probably likes you because you are a big guy.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it is true, and it works for me. Yeah, I mean, yeah, he's like, yeah, he likes big guys. So, yeah. But anyway, I guess before I wrap this up, because I do want to go, what are some really basic dating tips that you would give someone like who has not dated? Let's say, I'm not going to reveal his stuff in the podcast because that's confidential. But but let's say tips for someone really basic, like explain it like I'm a fifth grader type dating tips that you would give, and I'll go first. Okay. My first tip is, if it feels good, it's probably something you want to do. If it feels bad, try not doing that again. It's like, as simple as I can get it is like, do what feels good until it doesn't. And also, not everything that feels good is good. That's what I'll say like that.
All right.
So that's my most basic tip I could give.
Well, I think for me, it would be trust your emotions. It's okay to say what you don't like and what you do, and to enjoy it. Because if it's not enjoyable, you probably shouldn't be doing it.
Yeah, that's true.
Attempt to be with someone who you like. Go after what you like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's difficult because people will come after you and you may not like them, but I would say go after what you want. Know what you want and go after it.
Yeah, that was good. Because I think a lot of times we are overly concerned about what other people think. That's why I was coming with my advice was, especially in this scenario, he's dealing with his own, coming out process, also dealing with, shame on that part, and also living in an environment where a lot of this cannot be accepted. Like, literally is not accepted by the people around him. So, like, finding out what you like, is definitely important, being able to communicate that. And if you think you like something and you try it and it doesn't, that's part of the process,
And at a very basic level, for the person you're dealing with, you also need to tell them, explain to them about practicing self-forgiveness and self-grace. Because like you said, if he's going into this process already beating himself up, sadly, he's going to encounter some of that in his dating process. And he does not want that to discourage him. So he's going to have to be very solid in where he is.
Do you think he likes you, Malcolm?
He does. He said it.
It's complicated.
It does. And
do you like him?
No. I do like him as a person. He's a very kind person. He's not unattractive, but It's not. Yeah, and not only that, like that would just for one, it's like absolutely against any sort of policy to date someone in the program. So, that's not even a possibility. But also, yeah, it would be just wrong, like in my mind,
But you just told him to, if it feels good, go for it. I mean,
well, yeah. But I mean, I guess the other thing is that you have, that then we have to talk about boundaries. When someone says no, you need to say,
right,
you accept other people's boundaries too. And that might be a really good point. Actually, that was something we did in group, was actually where I was telling you when we did the book boundaries, like I brought it to our group and it was really good. Like that was actually one of the things we talked about was, it was really good. Cause I mean,
it is good. I mean, I have to work on that now, just not just in love relationships, but just in family relationships, work relationships, friendships. You have to set those boundaries and expect that, people are going to bump up next to them all the time. They're going to bump up to them or try to get through them. And, then it comes back to you kind of like, nope, this is all it is, or this is all it's going to be, or this is the only thing I'm going to do, or this is what I'm not going to do,
Yeah.
But to me, it's not uncommon when somebody tells you, hey, I'm just coming out, I need some dating help or stuff, that they're actually trying to get with you. That's why I asked.
Sure. I know.
It's kind of like pretty common that's they're trying to make their way to you.
If he's trying to do that, I am prepared to, firmly assert the boundaries that this is not going to happen. And I've already done that. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, good.
But,
and Malcolm, what also might be a good recommendation was, two things, because you took the regular book to them, right? But, there is a companion book that deals with boundaries and dating specifically.
Yeah, that is a good idea.
It has and because of his cognitive level, it has a workbook that I think would probably, help. And then also that Me and My Feelings book. This is really good because it's juvenile. But this was recommended to me by a therapist, and I recommend it to other adults, because sometimes it's just is about dealing with the basics. And this book is for kids, but it really, because a lot of us have never did this work at a real level. So it really is, we have to start at a very basic foundationary level. And it's not any shame in that.
Yeah.
And the workbooks are good because they, they allow you to do activities that make you think. So you become engaged.
No, that's how. Hey, thank you for listening to the podcast thus far. And I have another way that you can help become a greater part of the Male Media Mind community, and that is through our Amazon affiliate program. So we have suggested several books that we could read, and also we've had guests to offer books for us to read, to discuss. And one of those was the book Boundaries, which we brought up a few times in our discussion about dating. And I've recommended it to several people, even in my own private life. And if you want to be a greater support to Male Media Mind, you can actually purchase the book from Amazon, and we get a small commission for referring you to them. It doesn't cost you anything extra, and you can actually engage in our conversations about boundaries a little better, knowing the source material that we've been reading. Thank you for listening to the M3 Bearcast. I will catch you in the next episode. Make sure to rate us on Apple Podcasts, 5 stars, leave us comments, join us on social media. Again, thank you for listening. We'll catch you next week. Peace.